This is Nisreen from Nisreen's Art World. In this podcast, I will share my thoughts about different art forms such as films, books, paintings, performing art, etc. Hello, this is Nisreen. Welcome to the 18th episode of my podcast. It's lovely to speak to you again. Today's episode will be quite short, unlike my usual ones. The big news is I finally started weightlifting. As a dancer, I always knew that body strength is important. Unless you're a dancer, you might not be aware of this, but you need arm strength in particular to move with poise. I've been doing push-ups for years, but that wasn't enough. Today, though, I'd like to talk about another reason I realized my arms need more training. As some of you may know, I moved from Japan to the United States nearly 2 years ago. One thing I've noticed is that it feels like the doors on buildings in the US are generally much heavier than those in Japan. I know this might come across as an odd observation, but I'm not the only one who thinks so. Several friends who have lived in both countries say the same thing. I find myself shaking with effort every time I hold the door for the person after me. Another thing I noticed in my early days here was that I had a habit of making myself as compact as possible. For example, I used to hold my backpack in front of my body when walking on the street. This definitely came from the manners expected in a densely populated city like Tokyo. I also found myself hiding behind my husband, which he hated. He says he feels like a selfish macho poser when I walk behind him. I get that, but the habit was a result of being bumped into all the time on the small streets in Japan. So, in a nutshell, I'm learning how to take up a little more space and be physically stronger. I wonder if this experience resonates with those who live abroad, not only in Japan and the US, but in other countries too. Please share your experiences as well. What did you think? I'd be delighted if you wrote a review of this podcast on Apple Podcasts or gave a rating on Spotify. It would be lovely if you share the episode on social media as well. And of course, you are more than welcome to let me know your thoughts through the contact form in the description. Thank you so much for listening. Goodbye for now.